If you thought the Hamilton-Ferrari saga had reached its peak, think again. Legendary Italian journalist Leo Torini, a voice with decades of ties to Maranello, has publicly claimed that Ferrari failed to keep the promises made to Lewis Hamilton. He used a word that cuts deeper than disappointed, betrayed. When someone that close to the team speaks like that, you're forced to look past lap times and into the human fallout of a broken promise. That's where this story starts. Not with telemetry, but with trust being questioned in the very heart of the red team. Torini's points aren't gossip. They're about the everyday details that make or break a champion. Hamilton has been vocal about steering wheel ergonomics that needed months to adapt, a simulator that doesn't reflect the real behavior of the car, inconsistent braking feel, and tire degradation that wrecks race consistency. Those aren't small gripes. They change the way a driver can attack a corner, manage a stint, and read the car when it matters most. Put another way, if the car was built around another driver's preferences, you're asking Hamilton to compete with a weapon that doesn't fit his hands. That mismatch helps explain why a 7-time world champion can find himself searching for his first podium in a way that has never happened in his career before. And if that weren't worrying enough, the chatter from inside Maranello suggests contingency conversations are already happening. Names like Oliver, Behrman have been floated as potential long-term investments, and whether those talks are formal or whispers in a hallway, the existence of them tells you there's unease. Yet the man at the center of it, Hamilton, isn't folding. He's still arriving at the factory early, still leading meetings, still pressing engineers for changes, and treating the future regulation era as an opportunity rather than a surrender. That tells you something about his mindset. He's not on the brink of quitting. He's trying to shape the narrative and the car that might restore competitive balance. Ferrari promised Hamilton more than just a seat. They promised him a chance to fight for wins immediately. When Lewis left Mercedes, it wasn't only about money or a change of scenery. It was about chasing legacy, about proving he could bring glory back to the most famous team in Formula One. The red car was supposed to be his weapon, not his burden. From day one, he was told it would be ready to challenge at the front. That wasn't an idea for the future. It was an expectation for the present. Yet here we are, well into the season, and he is still without a podium. For a driver who has never endured such a drought in 2 decades, that's not just disappointing, it's unprecedented. This is why Leo Torini's words carried so much weight. He said Hamilton wasn't merely let down, he was betrayed. Think about that for a second. Betrayal means trust was broken. It means Ferrari didn't deliver on the very thing that convinced Hamilton to walk away from the comfort of Mercedes. Imagine betting everything on the so-called red dream, only to find yourself wrestling with a car that doesn't listen to you, doesn't play to your strengths, and doesn't respond to your feedback. For a legend of Hamilton's caliber, that stings more than a slow pit stop or a poor strategy call. It's a deep cut into the confidence that binds driver and team together. And this isn't just about missed podiums. It's about a team promising one reality and delivering another. When you tell the most decorated driver in Formula One history that he'll have a competitive car, you're not simply signing a contract. You're signing onto his legacy. Every lap he turns, every radio call he makes, every headline he generates feeds into the question, did Ferrari hold up their end of the bargain? Right now, even the Italian press, traditionally Ferrari's strongest shield, is questioning that. That shift in narrative is powerful. It transforms whispers into sirens, and it puts pressure not only on the engineers, but also on the culture inside Maranello. The heart of the problem isn't just that Ferrari promised Hamilton a front-running car and failed to deliver. The deeper issue is that the SF25 simply doesn't fit him. This machine wasn't born with Lewis in mind. It's an evolution of the philosophy developed around Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. So when Hamilton stepped into it, he wasn't stepping into a blank canvas built for his driving DNA. He was stepping into someone else's creation. That's like asking a master violinist to play on an instrument tuned for another musician. Sure, the notes come out, but they don't sound the way they should. Take the steering wheel ergonomics, for example. Something as simple as button placement or grip angles might sound minor, but when you're braking at over 200 miles per hour, it matters. Hamilton reportedly pushed Ferrari for months just to adapt the wheel to his liking. That delay cost him valuable time to build comfort and instinct in the cockpit. Then there's the simulator. If you can't trust the virtual car to behave like the real one, all the practice laps in the world won't prepare you for Sunday. For a driver who thrives on precision, that mismatch isn't just annoying, it's crippling. Add in the braking feedback and rear instability issues, and you start to see why Hamilton feels like he's in a constant fight just to keep the car balanced. When he brakes, late, the rear doesn't stay planted. When he tries to manage tire wear, the degradation patterns behave unpredictably. Consistency is almost impossible. It's not about being slower than Leclerc. It's about wrestling with a tool that doesn't speak the same language he does. And when you're judged on results alone, that technical disconnect is unfair. It paints a picture of decline that doesn't reflect the reality of a champion driving a car not tailored to him. That's why Torini's statement was so devastating. It confirmed what many suspected. Ferrari didn't deliver a car designed with Hamilton at the center. They delivered a continuation of someone else's project, and now he's paying the price in public. For Hamilton, that means every lap is two battles, one against the track and one against the very machine beneath him. When the Italian media starts whispering about Ferrari's next move, you know something serious is happening behind closed doors. According to reports, Ferrari may already be preparing a contingency plan in case Hamilton decides he's had enough. That alone tells you plenty about the unease within Maranello. Imagine the symbolism. One of the greatest drivers in history joins the most iconic team, and just months later, conversations begin about what happens if he walks away. That's not business as usual. That's a warning sign. And the name being mentioned as a possible successor is Oliver Bearman, a 20-year-old rookie who has quietly been groomed by Ferrari as their future. On paper, he makes sense. He's young, talented, and above all, manageable. He doesn't carry the same weight of expectation Hamilton does, and he's far less likely to push back against the system. For Ferrari, that could mean less friction and more control. But think about what that implies. If you're even entertaining the idea of moving on from Hamilton this early, it suggests the team might already be growing weary of his demands, his standards, and his relentless honesty. That doesn't mean Ferrari is officially pushing Lewis out. He still has a contract, and he's still deeply involved in the team's work. But the very fact that a replacement plan exists is telling. It plants a seed of doubt in the fan base, and more importantly, in the garage itself. How can Hamilton feel fully supported if there's already a whisper of someone waiting in the wings? And how can Ferrari convince the world that they are fully committed to their star driver if succession talks are even part of the discussion? For Hamilton's legacy, this is dangerous territory. The narrative can quickly shift from he's here to restore Ferrari to he's just a short chapter before the next generation arrives. And for Ferrari, the risk is equally high. If they fail to maximize Hamilton's presence and instead pivot to a rookie too soon, they could be accused of squandering a golden opportunity. That's why this isn't just a personnel question. It's a cultural one. It forces us to ask whether Ferrari truly bought into the Hamilton project, or whether they always saw him as a bridge to their future. Despite all the noise, Lewis Hamilton isn't backing down. He hasn't thrown in the towel, and he hasn't checked out mentally. If anything, he's doubled his commitment. He's still the first to arrive at the factory, still leading the technical meetings, still pouring hours into reports and feedback for the engineers. And he's not just focused on the present, he's already thinking about the future. With the regulation changes coming in 2026, Hamilton sees not a threat, but an opportunity. He's even called the shift fascinating, a new frontier he wants to help shape. That's the mindset of a driver who isn't finished, but who also knows time is running short to leave the kind of legacy he envisioned when he signed with Ferrari. The question is, how long can he keep carrying this weight? For every late-night simulator session and every long debrief at Maranello, there are still race weekends where the car doesn't deliver. How many more times can Hamilton walk away from a Sunday without a podium before the frustration outweighs the hope? And how long can Ferrari afford to let this tension simmer before trust erodes beyond repair? These are the crossroads we're looking at right now. A legendary driver trying to write one more glorious chapter, and a team that has to decide if it's truly ready to back him with everything it has. That's what makes Leo Torini's words so significant. They weren't speculation. They were confirmation that even those closest to Ferrari are beginning to doubt. When the insiders in Italy start questioning whether the red dream is slipping away, it usually means the cracks are already too deep to ignore. The only question now is whether Ferrari can rebuild Hamilton's trust before it's too late, or if we're watching the slow unraveling of one of the most ambitious and perhaps ill-fated partnerships in modern Formula One. So let me turn it over to you. What do you think Hamilton will do next? Will he stay and fight? Will he walk away? Or will he try to renegotiate his place in Ferrari's future? Drop your prediction in the comments and cast your vote in the poll. Stay, leave, or renegotiate. And before you head out, make sure you've subscribed to Fast News F1 and turned on notifications. We're pushing to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your support is what keeps us bringing you these deep dives and honest conversations. Stick with us, because if this chapter has been explosive, the next one in the Hamilton-Ferrari saga could rewrite everything we think we know.